One of the more recent updates for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, two old maps were added into the game. Those two maps, of course, are Shipment and Vacant. Recently, we dove into the history of Shipment, talking about all of the games that it's been in up until this point. However, today we are going to be diving into the second of those two maps. That is, of course, Vacant. And when Vacant was first added into Modern Warfare 2019, I didn't really know how I felt about it. I played it a few times and did okay, but it just kind of felt different than the previous versions of Vacant. And to this day, I still really can't put my finger on it, because really, if you look at the map design is almost exactly the same, except for a couple of little features that we're going to be talking about in this video, one of which is what I think causes that big difference, but we'll get to that later in the video. Now, if you're new to the channel and don't know what the Evolution series is all about, it's diving into the history of Call of Duty, looking at the various weapons and maps that have been there throughout various iterations of the game. In today's video, of course, we're going to be looking at Vacant and specifically what has changed throughout its history. And one of the main things that I don't think a lot of people know about are the various Easter eggs that have been on this map. There's pretty much one Easter egg on every version of this map, and we're going to be talking about every single one of those in this video. We're also going to be talking about how the gameplay has changed on this map over time. But without further ado, I'm going to shut up and let's dive in to the evolution of Vacant. The origins of Vacant go all the way back to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This map takes place in an abandoned office building, and it's, in my opinion, one of the most important maps in the game. Not because it was incredible or anything like that, it was because it simply played different than the other Modern Warfare maps. In Call of Duty 4, most of the maps, the M16 reigned supreme. There were long lines of sight where you could pick people off in one burst. However, with a map like Vacant, there's a lot of really close quarters, tight corners, and places where you can pick people off at short range. So weapons like the MP5, AK-74U, and shotguns actually did incredibly well on this map, and I would say even better than the M16. Now, don't get me wrong, you could still shred with the M16, it's just there were not many super close quarters maps like Vacant within Modern Warfare. For example, on a map like Overgrown, the M16 would absolutely tear apart the MP5. Now, moving more into the Easter egg side of things on this map, if you didn't already know, this map actually took place in Pripyat, Ukraine, just outside of Chernobyl. It's actually just outside of that area where All Gillied Up takes place within Call of Duty 4. It's kind of hard to see in the original Call of Duty 4, but when you look at the surroundings in Modern Warfare Remastered, you can definitely see some familiar buildings. You can't see the Ferris wheel or anything like that, but definitely there are some recognizable buildings out there. Now, moving on to the Easter egg. As I mentioned before, in pretty much every version of this map, there is a different Easter egg. Call of Duty 4's, though, is my absolute favorite. Off to the one side of the map, there's a semi-exploded truck. And if you go over to the truck and look at the license plate, it actually spells out something a little bit politically incorrect. It spells out retard or retardo. And as we know, in 2019, that's one of those no-no words. Actually, it's 2020 now, so I don't know what the ruling is on this word, but I'm pretty sure you're still not allowed to say it. Now, the interesting part about this is if we go forward to Modern Warfare Remastered, this map is identical, down to every single detail, the pictures hanging on the wall, pretty much everything. But if you go over to this truck, no, they didn't remove the license plate. All they did was blur it out. Because at the time of Modern Warfare Remastered coming out, at that point, this word was, like I said, a word you're not supposed to say. So instead of removing it, they just blurred it out. Moving on to the next Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare 2. Vacant returned as a DLC map in the Resurgence map pack, which came about halfway through the game's life cycle. As far as what changed on this map, pretty much nothing. The map itself played identically, the aesthetics of the map was once again still on an abandoned office building outside of Pripyat, but other than that, really not much. Really the only thing you can kind of put your thumb on is aesthetics. So, for example, the saturation of the map got bumped up a lot, so the colors were a lot brighter, and the lighting also got brought up as well. One other change that only happened in the game mode Demolition was the gate at the back office would open up. This was only in Demolition. Not Team Deathmatch, nothing else, just Demolition. Now, in my opinion, the map even played extremely similar to Call of Duty 4, where shotguns, SMGs like the UMP and the Vector really excelled on this map. Now, the only other change to this map came with kill streaks. Because there was more kill streaks in the game, it was a lot more important to know where the holes in the ceiling were. Skylights were incredibly important if you were using kill streaks like an AC-130 or even a Predator missile, so you're able to get more kills with them. Now, as far as the Easter eggs on this map, they did remove the retard Easter egg. However, they put in a new one revolving around Captain Price, and I was actually surprised that this one didn't return in Modern Warfare 2019. But on the side of some of the shipping containers, there is an advertisement for Oscar Mike's Shipping and Receiving. Now, this is of course a phrase that they say several times throughout the Call of Duty campaign, and also Captain Price's pictures there. On top of that, their slogan is, "We are always on the move," which of course, Oscar Mike means on the move in military speak, if you will. So a pretty neat Easter egg. I believe this is the only map in Modern Warfare 2 that this Easter egg is on, and it is not on any other version of Vacant. Now, we're not going to talk anymore about Modern Warfare Remastered because we've kind of already been over Call of Duty 4. So the next game that this is in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. And really, this is the first version of Vacant that's a little bit different. They kind of changed what is in the actual building. Perfect example of this is if you go to the back room. Previously in other games, this was a bunch of different computers, a bunch of different office space. Now it almost looks like more of a storage area for a construction company. Also, this map no longer takes place in Pripyat in this game. It actually takes place in Verdansk. We know this because this is actually a part of the ground war map Port. If you zoom out in spectator mode, you can actually see various buildings from the map Port, where the B flag is, for example, or even the giant highway going over top of Vacant. Even further, you can actually look off into the distance and see Gulag, which we are assuming is either going to be part of a Battle Royale map or a future Spec Ops mission, but we do know it is in Verdansk. Now, personally, I feel like this map plays extremely similar to the previous versions of this map, where SMGs, shotguns do extremely well indoors. If you want to use a longer range weapon like an AR or a sniper, you kind of have to stick to those long lines of sight, like down the big hallways. But other than that, it is very similar to the previous version. One main difference, though, is at the outside portion of the map, they have actually opened up a couple of buildings that you can go into, assumably to get cover when the enemies get kill streaks and your spawn is stuck outside, because previously there was no cover outside the main building. Now, the final difference, and I think that this is the biggest one, and the one why a lot of people are saying they don't like this version of the map as much, is simply doors. There are doors all over this map. Even the main entrance to the building has doors there. And for some reason, I think that those doors, even when open, make the map feel a little bit smaller and congested. Maybe that's just me, but honestly, that little thing, the difference of the doors, is one of those things that I think really will change the way the map plays, especially in modes like Search and Destroy. But hey, maybe I'm crazy, maybe the doors aren't as big of a difference as I think. You can let me know what you think down in the comments. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Vacant in every single Call of Duty game it has been in so far. So far, it has only been within Modern Warfare games, and it's interesting to see what has actually changed, or what hasn't changed. In my opinion, this is one of the least changed maps that has been in some of the most amount of Call of Duty games. Really, the only big changes come to the Easter eggs and really the colors and lighting of the actual map. Modern Warfare 2019 was the first game to actually change something with those buildings that are now open outside, and honestly, it was kind of surprising. But other than that, the changes to these maps really have just been with the colors and lighting, as you can see by the little montage going around in the background here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the evolution of Vacant in every single Call of Duty it's been in, spanning from Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare all the way to Modern Warfare 2019. Feel free to let me know down in the comments which version of this map is your personal favorite. As far as maps go, this one is one of those maps that has had the fewest changes throughout the different iterations of it. Other maps, we've seen additional areas added, individual changes made to lines of sight, but really Vacant has stayed mostly the same aside from a couple of changes. So, like I said before, let me know what your personal favorite version was down in the comments, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, it is always appreciated if you hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. and I want